All right, everybody. Good morning and welcome to today's session. We're going to be talking about uh, d- what is this session about? Can someone remind me? Can someone no? No one's
Digital
going to step up.
citizenship.
Thank you. Being a good digital citizen. So thank you, Julie, for being a good digital citizen and helping me out with that. I appreciate that. We're going to be talking about digital citizenship today, and today I'm just going to kind of give you some ideas. So let me let me share my other screen here. There we go. Um, So today's agenda, like I said, I'm just going to give you some ideas today. We're going to be going over just what it means to be a good digital citizen in general, but we're going to talk more specifically about establishing norms with your kids and what that could look like. Assigning roles for your students and the importance of that, and just some ideas on some roles that could be established. But I do want to get your ideas as we work throughout this as well. Involving families and some resources that I'm going to share in order to help with that, involving families, and then choosing a curriculum, more specifically a free curriculum that you can join in with. And start it from the beginning and work your way through it, no matter whether you're a kindergarten teacher or whether you teach seniors. And so, because I really believe it's more important right now to teach digital citizenship in this day, because usually we're teaching citizenship in the classroom, and our classroom is online right now, and so it's really important to make sure that we cover all of our bases, and we're not stopping teaching citizenship to kids that might look online and see who knows what and think that that's being a citizen, and that's how they should act, and where the loudest person or the one with the most rude comments online are the way to go. We need to make sure that we step in and show them what is the better alternative to that. All right, so one more time, Mandy just put into the chat today's sign in. So if you haven't got signed in yet, please take just a minute to go ahead and sign your name so that you can get credit for participating this morning. So I am also going to be sharing with you a copy of my presentation today that is going to include all of the links. It's going to ask you to make a copy of that and put it into your drive, and then that is your copy, so you can feel free to take notes on it and go from there. Okay. So let's go ahead and get going now that we have all of our links ready to go. And establishing norms is one of the things that we do on the first days of school. It's one of we spend sometimes days, and if you're a kindergarten teacher, you're never really finished establishing norms. You're constantly doing that, and again, just because we're in a digital environment doesn't mean that needs to change. One of the this is from Mandy. My wife Mandy teaches at Monterey. She teaches fourth grade, and she created this establishing norms and a routine. And this is not, by the way, the only norms and routine that is possible. Obviously, but she wanted to be creative with hers. She added quite a few Bitmojis, but she made sure to include the things that were important inside of her classroom. And the expectations for the students before they got in for the day. And so if you click on the picture, there is a link attached. So right at the bottom of that picture, there's a link attached to a daily routine that she does as well. And that daily routine is right over here. And so you can make a copy of that as well. And let me make sure that I included the correct link for that just to make sure that it is a copy link. It is. Okay. So you should be able to make a copy of that as well, so that you can again do with it with whatever you need to, if you want to change that that link up as well and share it. But in addition to the establishing norms and just making sure that kids understand the expectations for the day, she's also included a routine for them. So every single day, whenever she meets with these students, they go ahead and say the pledge like they would in a normal classroom. They go ahead and do the the pledge to the New Mexico flag, just like they do in a regular classroom. They do the Monterey pledge, and they do the Kids for Character. She goes over the lunch menu. These are things that happen every single morning in a regular environment. We don't need to take them out of that routine just because we're online. And so she put them together. She put it together in a slide deck that all she has to do is now just change the specific days. So the morning agenda, this is what their students would be doing on September 29th. And here is the afternoon agenda. So she's kind of broken it down in that way. And then here's their specific assignment list. Again, oh, and she says she also sends that to parents every day so that they have a copy of that as well. So it just goes into the, we're able to be a better citizen whenever we are, whenever we know the expectations and we know what we're going to be doing for the day, and we know that we can build around these ideas, making sure that we remember the pledges and doing all those things, and not just laying in bed. And we got to get them up and moving in order for this to work out. So again, if you go to the and I'm going to copy it one more time. If you go to the today's slide deck that I've created, on slide number 3, you can click on her establishing norms and routines picture, and there is there's a copy link for that one if you want to already have the New Mexico pledge and the pledge already built out for you. Now, some other things that you do need to think about, though, whenever you're establishing norms and routines and these are things that aren't normally having to be thought of, a lot of these. Establishing norms and routine, what is appropriate attire? Those are things that are already laid out in a building's plan for the year. But now that the kids are at home, what have you established as a teacher? And that needs to be said. If it hasn't been said yet, it needs to be. But then this goes into just questions that you might need to ask along the way. And again, this document, once you make a copy of it, it's yours. So if you think of more questions along the way that I did not think of, please feel free to add more to them and make sure that you're addressing these as you go through. None of this is groundbreaking, but it just looks different because of the environment that we're in. Okay. Does anyone have anything to add of just establishing norms, routines in their classroom, things that have worked for your class that you might would like to share out? I'm a good waiter. I got good wait time, guys.
I already shared mine.
Doing icebreakers, but like also using the chat box is a good way to kind of get them talking.
Yeah.
Some kids don't like to talk online, so I sometimes encourage them to put it in the chat box.
Yeah. And maybe I should do that. I encourage you to put it in the chat box. If you have a great idea that you want to share out, don't hesitate to do that. Don't be discouraged by the 40 plus people that are in here. They're all in the same boat. We're all in the same boat together, I guess. So thank you, Amanda. Yeah, and including chat boxes, including icebreakers in general. What I have really leaned on whenever I've done some icebreakers, and I'm not a huge icebreaker guy beyond the first couple of weeks of class, to be honest, but whenever I kind of envision icebreakers, it's putting them in a collaborative doc, a collaborative CAMI assignment, and then working together on there that we can keep up with what's going on with what each person is contributing to the group. But so thank you for that. Okay, going on to the next thing. I do want to get to the end of this because there's quite a few great ideas towards the end. So assigning roles is something that I have done in my classroom. And usually I do it in my classroom when I have some behavior issues. Usually if everything, and I'm coming from a secondary perspective. So I taught middle school, and again, I'm one that I just like to get in there and I like to have fun with the kids. Don't get me wrong, but I just want to get in there and get going with the curriculum and get in and get started with it. When I have had my most worrisome, behavior issues in class, I usually start leaning on stuff like this. And I know that these are things that, elementary teachers especially are just amazing at. But again, if this is something that you have used in your classroom, try to reimagine it for what it is in the digital environment. And I did give a few different options, but again, feel free to type in the chat or talk over me here if you have an idea. But assigning someone as a chat moderator and Mandy will have to do this for me today, and Amanda has done a great job of being a chat moderator, basically without the nice badge to go along with it, of stuff that comes up in chat that because I'm doing something else, because I'm on another screen, I don't get to see the things that are happening in chat. And so assigning a student for that, especially one that might have trouble focusing, that kind of gives them a job to focus. That's their job, to focus. We just call it a chat moderator. It's their job is to focus. It's just on a different name. A researcher providing useful links and information about what is being taught and discussed. I can see that being incredibly useful, especially as you grow, as you get out onto the older students. It might be a little bit more difficult, obviously, to get a first or second grade to add quality research, as we go through. But trust me when I say this, high school students, that like to, engage in discussion and whatnot. And even if they don't like to engage in discussion face to face, a lot of them are doing it, in chat rooms, on Reddit, stuff like that, and they know how to find great sources and add to the discussion. Tech support. If you have a student who's good with technology, make sure that if a kid has a question that they go to them, and not just, oh man, I've never seen that before, I'm going to have to, put in a ticket. Not that that's a bad thing, not that you shouldn't put in tickets, but how much better would it be if the student in your class is able to contribute in that way? Just an idea, behavior moderator, you kind of have to be careful with those, but that just brings up any issues to the attention of the teacher, and it might need to be done in a way that doesn't call out that student, and you would have to think of a great way to do it, but it's just an idea. Michelle Robertson, having a chat moderator has been excellent for me. Yeah, they keep the other kiddos from blasting the box with emojis and other randomness. And one thing that I would share is that you do have more moderator tools. So I'm gonna swing the Google Meet over here, and on the chat section right over here, you now have the ability to let everyone send and receive messages, but you also have the ability to turn that off, which I don't want to do during the middle of this. So if there comes a time when it gets a little out of hand and kids are putting some stuff in that you don't want them to at that particular moment, feel free to turn that chat off for just a few minutes, just to kind of stop the surge that's coming at you, and then you can turn it back on. There are some other host controls that you can turn on and turn off, and with the ability to stop kids from sharing their screen if that ever became a problem. So just kind of throwing that in there since it's a new feature since I have done my last training. So before we are there any other ideas about assigning roles? Has anyone done anything beyond the 4 that I've kind of posted, or things that you've done in your classroom that you think would be a great thing to bring over? Training kids to type question mark when they have a question. And that kind of goes into the establishing norms as well, you know, of making sure that kids know what to do in the environment that they're in. We had a first grade teacher that asked a question of how can my kids ask questions through chat whenever a lot of them can't spell, can't type very well. And I just showed her, I mean, we just kind of talked about stuff like that, stuff like typing in SOS. First of all, it teaches them what is this SOS, where there's kind of a history lesson behind that, right? But then I think the kids can lean on that, typing either a question mark, typing SOS, and being able to express their thoughts as they go along. And again, that it helps to then have a chat moderator behind that and to say, hey, there's a question in the chat. Can you stop for a second? All right, so moving on to the next part, involving families. This is probably one of the most challenging things that any of us are doing right now, because on the one hand, families are involved, a lot of them in ways that they never thought that they needed to be in the past. We are asking a ton on our families, but I think there's a frustration there. I know that there's a frustration there with how much we're asking them. So there's a fine line between asking them to do too much but then also including them in this. And so I think speaking as a parent who my child's teacher has done just an absolutely fabulous job. But I can also see because, obviously because, Mandy and I are teachers, we kind of have an understanding of what it should look like and why we're doing things the way that we're doing them, and why the class is running that certain way. And I can see a frustration building with families that are kind of feel like they might be left out in the cold. So some of these resources are really just to get them not doing more. We don't want... Sorry. Let me mute there. Okay. Not to get the families to do more, but to get them more involved in just understanding what's taking place. Because I think, one of the things that Dr. Washburn's talked about this year is not what we're doing, but you got to tell the why of what's going on. You have to prepare them, the families, just like you have the students. So again, if you've made a copy of this, and if you haven't, I'm going to go ahead and share it one more time for those that came in late. This is a copy of the slide deck that I'm using, so it's going to have all the links. But there are a few different links to that you can send out to parents and families just to get them a little bit more involved. So obviously something like this, probably better for the beginning of the year, but it's never too late to have them take a pledge and to at least be notified of the things that they're responsible for, and the things that they need to stay safe with, and the things that they're going to speak up with. These are all these digital citizenship ideas of what this, today's session is kind of built around, of thinking about what you're doing, speaking up whenever things don't look right. All of these things that you have taught in your classroom that we need to continue teaching in the online environment. And then there is a section right over here at the bottom of my parent or caregiver will. And it's not any extra help. It's just making sure that they identify what their role is inside of that classroom. So that's a great thing to share with teachers. And you can make a copy of any of these links that I have sent for you. A guide for family template. I liked this one as well. Kind of an FAQ, a frequently asked questions of digital learning classroom and what that might look like, and what some answers are. Some of these answers, of course, this comes from a very general place, but so you might have to go through these and type in some answers that fit for your own classroom or for our district. But this is a great resource to share with the families that are just now getting started. Okay, I really liked the next few things here, and this was a daily routine template that was shared out, and this is built around kind of around what we had shared earlier with giving the layout of what the teacher is going to be giving that student for the day. But more than that, it's going to give notes, ideas for what to talk about. How can the family then talk to the parent or talk to the student about what's happening in the classroom? How might they bring some of those things up for love or hate? Eureka Math had some very good parent resources that were given out at the beginning of each unit, and you were able to send those to parents. So just to kind of give them an idea of here's the things that we're going over in class, and here's some ways that you can assist with the learning. Like, how can you, if we're talking about fractions, as a 6th grade teacher, we talked about fractions, pretty much the whole year. How can we build on that knowledge? What are some things that you can do at home? Again, it's not giving more work. It's not piling anything on. It's just rephrasing, reshaping the questions that they should really already be talking to their own kids about, and just making sure that we apply the information that's coming from work. We get these with our preschoolers. What did we do today? What can you do to help? And so just kind of thinking about adding some of these things. And then there is a reflection here and of how the parent can talk to the student about the week, how things went. And if they're having that conversation, that's a win, 100%. If they're even asking these 3 questions at the end of each week, then wow, you've really done a great job of including them. Okay, learning conversations template, kind of along those same lines. How can we provide better conversation starters? So that the parents and the students can have a better idea of what's going on, and of course you would have to include the learning goals that are happening in your classroom, but most importantly, you're talking about how can you bring those things up. So it kind of goes in with the paper that I shared just before this. I really like this one because it tells the parent what to listen for. And if you hear certain words like this, that's a good thing. If you hear certain words like this, that is a great thing. And if you hear these types of things, then that's not a good thing, and you probably need to work with that. Then finally, these are especially made for K-2, but they are goal setting, and I really liked these. The link that I gave you takes you kind of to a document that talks about these things, but I'm just going to open up the kindergarten English packet here, and it gives this is something that you can assign to your students in Google Classroom, assign to your families, I guess, in Google Classroom as a kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade teacher. I would adopt this for my 6th grade classroom if I were still in the classroom, though. But it talks about media balance rules, about why we pause for things, and so forth. It talks about the having a good balance inside of the classroom, so that the parents can be aware of some of those balance things as well. These are specific to kindergarten family resources, but again, some of these resources are going to work for whatever grade you teach. But there's some family activities, there's coloring books, there's parenting tips that are on the right-hand side, talking about things like digital footprint and cyberbullying, what to keep an eye out for, and so forth and so on. So this is great to share with them in that regard. But then it goes into actual goals for the week. How that just because we're in the class, just because that class is now online and it's difficult to meet one-to-one, which we still should be doing as much as possible, obviously. But how can we have the goals so that we're not having to show them everything along the way, that we're just really talking to them about how those goals are going. So we're really saving time whenever we make something like this. But what are the goals for the week? Well, this is what the kid's goal for the week for fitness is going to be, or feelings. Caregiver, what are they going to do? They're going to try a yoga app. They might not feel comfortable with that, but that's okay, because they can delete that and type in their own information. And you might include a teacher goal on this as well, so that you're you're on the same page as they are, that you're going to be working on some of these things as well. And that again goes into just being a good digital citizenship, of being on that level with the kids, to know that you're working just as hard as they are, even though you're probably working way harder you're working way harder than you have ever worked, but than they have ever worked, just getting these things put out. But it's good to make that connection with them regardless. So it includes things like learning goals. Here's a schedule for the day. Obviously this would have to be adapted to fit whatever class you have. And then these learning apps for kindergartners. These are some things that kindergartners that are good for kindergartners. Now, it doesn't mean that we might not have complete access to them, so you probably do want to either check yourself to make sure that that they are all good. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Anita or me, and we will help you out. And here's some free time activities, some great places to go for them as well. So this is kind of adds a whole bunch of resources, not to the student necessarily, but again, it just gives the family a little bit more time to get some resources that they might use, and just some good ideas on how you can kind of spark conversation inside of their houses. All right. Any other things that anyone has done here that you've involved families and just had a tremendous amount of success with, or even just a little bit of success with? Because we need to celebrate those little achievements as well. All right. For those that I saw a few that are saying that they came in late, that's okay. I'm going to link one more time. Mandy linked the sign in for today, and I'm going to link the slide deck that I'm using that has the links all attached for the things that we're doing today. Okay, let's move on to choosing a curriculum. So the first thing I'll start off by saying is these curriculums are very good. Okay, so I'll just kind of start off with that. We've used in our department, whenever we go around and teach in different classrooms, we've stuck more with the Google, the Pear Deck, the Be Internet Awesome campaign that they have done, and it's been extremely good. I, in my own class, used the Google Interland, and it's great. Common sense education is a lot better in the sense of it covers a wider range of classes and of grade levels. So if you as I said before, if you teach seniors, there are some lessons in there that you can go with. But none of this, and I need to say this kind of up front, none of this is going to replace the excuse me, let me get my notes to make sure I'm got the right thing here. None of this is going to replace the iSafe curriculum that the district has adopted. So just because you're talking about, you're going over the common sense, you're going over the Pear Deck, if you're in a classroom that, which I think K to 5, or pretty close to every single teacher does the iSafe curriculum. If you're 6 through 12, it's usually given to, social studies or something like that. But this is a little bit different than that. Okay. So, but with that in mind, the thing I want to start with is this common sense, and let me share this screen right here. So this is a, I believe, kindergarten lesson. Again, Common Sense goes from K to 12, though. I just kind of picked out the first one that I thought looked awesome. This is a kindergarten lesson. It's called Pause for People. And it talks about what you need, what the kids need to keep in mind about just making sure that screen time is limited. Now, we're not going to go through this entire lesson. I don't want to stop along the way for everything. But it kind of gets them to ask questions to themselves, and this is something that you would work through them with. How do you say goodbye to technology when you don't want to? We have a second grader in our house, and we have a pre-K kiddo in our house, and you know, they don't like saying bye to technology whenever they're, you know, 30 minutes of time is up for that, you know, session that we gave them or whatever. And so talking to them about these ideas before it becomes, you know, a meltdown of them getting upset is a great idea. So they include a warm-up. You know, you kind of bring up with your kids, you know, what is, of course, what this would be a vocabulary word for kindergartners for a lot of them, but what is it, what is frustrated, what how do you feel whenever we take back that, you know, that device that we've given you, and so forth. What does it mean to pause something, and then what is a device? So it goes over some vocabulary at the beginning. And it gives a fun little video, and you are not going to be able to hear this video until I change this. So let me share. Let me share this tab with the sound up.
Technology is so cool. I love playing games, watching funny videos, and learning new things. Sometimes it's hard for me to say goodbye to my device, especially when I'm having so much fun. But I followed 3 simple steps. Pause, breathe, finish up.
Now you try.
Pause, breathe, finish up.
Let's try that again, but this time a little faster.
Pause, breathe, finish up.
So pretty fun. Kindergartners would love that, and if you incorporate that into the rest of the lesson where they get to sing that song, man, you got a winner right there, right? So but that's not it. So it's not just a cute little video that's going to talk about him. You're going to talk about, of course, this is something that the chant, you can kind of place this throughout. Pause, breathe, finish up. And then there are some activities going on. So here's scene 1, scene 2, and it gives them basically a scenario of what they should do if presented with this issue. So 3 different scenarios of what takes place right there. And then a reflect handout, which could be given to them digitally. It could be included in the packets that are being sent out as well. So, and if you're using Pear Deck, which we're going to go to here in 1 second, you can include a drawing slide so that they can do it on the device and send it to you so that you can get an idea of what they're doing right away. And again, the Common Sense curriculum is K to 12. I'm going to come into this and kind of just show that off, that this is for all grades right here, but here's the kindergarten lessons, 1st grade lessons, 2nd grade, all the way down to grade 12. And so there is a lot of information there for you to be able to use. In addition to full lessons, there are also quick versions of the lessons that are designed to be done in either 5, 10, or 15 minutes. And it's just they're great lessons. This is a wonderful tool for teaching digital citizenship. All right. In addition to the Common Sense education, and I saw someone in chat saying that they went to a Common Sense video. I mean, Common Sense, the curriculum has really been great. Oh, and before I go on to Google the Pear Deck and the Be Internet Awesome, there is a YouTube playlist for a whole bunch of different lessons as well. There's 33 videos for you to kind of look at. A lot of these just aren't going to be given to kids. Some of them are built more just for the teacher to watch. Some of them are just give you an idea of the pedagogy, behind some of the stuff that they've been doing. But anyways, that's a good resource as well. Okay, so the Be Internet Awesome campaign has partnered with Pear Deck, and we do have Pear Deck in our district as a purchased program, I guess. And so I'm gonna go ahead and click on that first, and this is the Google site side of things, excuse me, and it's more just in general talking about what it is that they are focusing on in this curriculum, and what to do. I've included the link to Interland on there. There's the link to the actual curriculum if you want to look through the actual 98-page curriculum and find the things that you would like to teach. So it gives you a better. It's not just giving you slides and saying figure it out for yourself. There's the curriculum is going to tell you, in what order you should do it and so forth. So it has been well thought out along the way. On the top of this page, though, and then I've also linked it in the slide deck that I've sent to you. You can click on the slides button right here, and this is where Google has partnered with Pear Deck to make these more interactive for your classroom. And so I have, let me open it up here. I have got a activity that I wanted to do with you really quickly. We're not going to do all of it. I want to make sure that we have plenty of time for you to kind of look around at some of these things. By the way, I am doing a Pear Deck session this afternoon, so if you like what you see here and want to start incorporating things like this or this exact thing, please come back at 2 o'clock. So, all right, so if you wouldn't mind, please, opening up another tab and going to joinpd.com, and I'll link that inside of the chat so you can just click on it. That didn't turn into a... and whenever you get there, you are going to type in the code, which is NKJCPA. What I like about Pear Deck is it can make anything that you have been doing inside of your classroom for years. If you are a person that likes to use PowerPoints or slide decks, it makes it interactive for you, not just in the digital environment, but inside the classroom as well if you have devices. And it provides you with instant feedback on how kids are doing, and maybe some struggles that they're having along the way. It's an incredible program, and again, I'll be talking more about it at 2 o'clock. So joinpd.com, and then you're going to type in the code NKJCPA. If you're not, if you aren't able to get to it, don't worry too much. You're still going to be able to see my screen and see what everyone else is doing. Now, in addition to what you see in front of you, there's also a teacher dashboard that can be opened up. And I'm going to go ahead and open it up, and it'll open it up. You can open it up in the same device that you're on and have it, on a side by side with the work that you're doing. If you have two monitors, you can put it on a separate monitor, but you can also pull it up on a completely different device. So you can bring the teacher dashboard up on a cell phone, or or on your smart board, or another, on the PC in your classroom, so that you can have a little bit more insight into what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and go forward. 13 people. That's good to start with. You can always still join in. I'm going to go ahead and start it. Here is the code up at the top right, NKJ CPA. This says install the Pear Deck add-on for Google Slides to make this lesson interactive. That's really just for me. You don't have to do that on your end. So we are looking at the Be Internet Awesome campaign. This is Lesson 1, Share with Care, Activity 1, When Not to Share. Pear Deck is, I believe, what did it say? Grades 2 to 6, I believe, is what it's more geared towards. But it's going to talk about some activity goals, and have a talk with everyone. Why does privacy matter? So this would be a good time, to let people unmute themselves or type into the chat. We're going to kind of skip through, like I said. Activity, can you keep a secret? All right, make up a secret. And you are going to write on your screen, you're going to write your responses. Please don't say anything that is not an actual family secret that, just make something fun up. Be kind whenever you make it up, please. Oh, I see one secret that's pretty good. It's not a yes or no question. Make up a secret. Now again, this is interactive. Everyone's able to participate with this. Everyone's able to make a little fun secret up, and go from there. I still see people joining and writing in there, so I'm going to give about another minute to make sure that everyone gets a chance to put their information on there. Now, sadly, we can't do the next part that asks us to partner up with the person next to you. Can't do it on the fly like this. You could set up, if you're using Blocksy, you could set up some breakout groups or something like that. You could also set up Google Docs to put two people inside of the room and tell your partner a secret. If you have someone's cell phone number inside of here, go ahead and text them your secret if you'd like. And so this is student pace mode. I'm not going to go into student pace mode, but with your partner, discuss and answer these questions. So I think you are, as a grown adult, you can probably discuss, think about these questions and go ahead and answer them. So this time you're going to draw anywhere on the slide. Would you share your secret with anyone? With whom would you share your secret and why? And so these can be pretty quick. Now, just to kind of show this off, we have the ability on the teacher dashboard side of things, while this is going on, you can see all the slides, but you can also see all the answers. And I'm afraid if I click over, it's going to switch the slide for everyone. I apologize. But if I go back, so you can see all of the answers that are coming in, and without having to share this with all of your students. So let me see if I can. I know there's a way to hide names before you send it out, but yeah, you can see everything that is being said as it's going on. This is a great way to check, especially if you're doing doing some of these questions that come up that are kind of meant to be taken lightly, make up a secret. If there's some troubling questions that appear, you're going to know before anyone else does. And so you'll be able to either share them out or not. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and let me see. All right, so I'm going to let's see, lock the screens so that we're done with this prompt, and let's show responses. So this does remove the names on this one right here. And I starred this response just to show that you can only select certain ones if you want, but if I uncheck them, you can see all of the responses. In addition to that, you can, I'm going to bring this over so that you can see it, you can hide responses. So if you don't want to show one of them, one that might be just not up to quality, or one that is a little bit more concerning, you can get rid of those things along the way. All right, continuing on with this, wait for your teacher's instructions. And then some takeaways. What other kinds of information should we be careful of? And this one you can draw on the slide. I'm going to kind of skim through this because I got 11 minutes left with you. But kids are able to draw on the slide on this one so that they can identify some of these things. In the next series of slides, decide whether you think the information should be protected as private information or shared freely on the internet. This is something that you can drag the icon over to your home address. Should you share that on the internet, or should you keep that a secret? And as it's coming up, go ahead and move your dots so that we can see what this looks like. And whenever I show responses, we got a couple jokers over here, but you can see what where the movement is and where people feel they should be going. And this is done as an entire group, although on my end, I can see who the jokers are right along the way. So anyways, continuing on, the location of your local library, should that be shared on the internet? We're not going to go through each one of these. Your feelings about another in a classroom, should you share that on the internet? Pictures you took of your friends or schoolmates, should you share pictures you took of your friends online? Information about the candidates running for president, please don't interrupt me, okay? Please don't interrupt me with that. I hope you guys got that. I don't want to go into more detail. Pictures you wouldn't want your parents to see, should that be shared on the internet? And then, of course, there's a chance for students to write their own responses. What is the most important thing that you learned for today? And, kids think you can't end a session without the word "the end." So there you go. What's nice about Pear Deck as well, and maybe this isn't the best time to talk about Pear Deck, but because this is because this curriculum does work so wonderfully with Pear Deck, you can, whenever you click end, I can name this, and I can publish the student takeaways. And whenever that happens, students will get an email of their responses, and you will get a copy of their responses as well, so that you can go back later, grade these things. If you, of course, you wouldn't grade, obviously a session over digital, citizenship, but you can take a look at them, especially in case you missed something along the way, maybe a red flag that got put up there, or just something that you might need to speak with with that student about. You do have access to take a look at these. Now you're going to get an email about this saying that I shared this with you. You can take a look at it. You can get rid of it. It's up to you. So anyways, that is just an example of the Be Internet Awesome campaign from Google. Let me, go over to my slide deck here. I got too many tabs open at this point. All right, and I realized I shared this slide deck with you, and the title of it is Running PD Slides, just because I use this each time. Name it something better than I named it, if you don't mind. But anyways, Google Interland is also a really cool tool. Again, it's not really for K to 2. It says it starts at 2. I think of it more of a 3 through 6th grade game, but it is a video game that teaches the aspects of digital citizenship along the way. And so it says embark on a quest. Here, this is a video about it. Let's click play now so that you can see what the kids would see. This is a video game that can run on our Chromebooks, and it's free. So embark on a quest to become a confident explorer in the online world. And they pick a place to go, and each place is going to, this is really loud in my ear, it's got fun little music. It's going to talk about different things in each of the levels. So this level is Tower of Treasure, secure your secrets. So it's going to be talking about passwords, about what to share online, kind of like the activity that we just went over. King Kingdom, it's cool to be kind, how to be kind in an online environment. It's going to talk about internet trolls and stuff like that here. Reality River, don't fall for fake. This is something that goodness, as a second, my second grader is seeing stuff online right now, and he's like, he thinks everything's just, yeah, that's real. Like that weird thing that I just saw, no, like it's online, so it's real. This is gonna show him that it's not. And then finally, Mindful Mountain, share with care the things that you should be sharing and whatnot. But I'm not going to go into the game. Try it out just for a few minutes. Spend a few minutes. I have played some of the password one, which is, I think I went the wrong way. The Tower of Treasure. I've played a little bit of this one. It's just fun little stuff to show them how to make strong passwords. And absolutely, Steve, you do need this for adults. As my when we go over helping parents with, I can say this, helping my parents with, but helping people with their online accounts or whatever, and I noticed that their password is like somebody's first name or something like that. It's going to show you how to make better passwords than that, and then that first name is their password for literally every single thing that they have. Not the best strategy there. So this is going to teach kids some of those strategies as well. So anyways, so that is the Be Internet Awesome campaign that they have partnered with Pear Deck, and they work with video game makers for the Interland. I'm not going to talk too much about these. Here's EverFi's Ignition. This was a real, kind of a less gamey, a less fun thing, but it's meant for an older group. And so this is grade 6 through 9. I haven't spent too much time with this, but I know it's one that is used. And then PBS Learning, it says it's geared from grades 3 to 12. I didn't find too much that are on the younger side. This was more for the 6 through 12 as well. But it is PBS does these, and there's just little videos for the most part. There are curriculum lesson plans. There's not too many here, but it is another option for you. What's that science? There's a POP. What is that called? Let me find my notes. Brain Pop. Brain Pop also does, they have a couple free things, Brain Pop and Brain Pop Junior, but a lot of those resources are actually paid, which I know at one point a few schools in the district had access to Brain Pop. So if you have access to Brain Pop, there are a few different lessons that you can use. And well, I didn't link it here because I know for sure that not every school has access to Brain Pop, although like I said, I think at one point a few schools did. So I 3 minutes short of my time ending with you guys, and so it's a good time for me to find out if there's any additional resources that I've missed along the way, ones that you have used in your classroom and would like to share out, or if there are any questions about the things that I've shared today on and what we can do for the kids as far as digital citizenship goes.
I want to relink your slide deck.
I'm going to, thank you. I'm going to relink the slide deck. If you didn't make a copy of this, it includes all of the links from today. And if you didn't sign into today's meet, make sure that you are clicking on that second link to sign in. Okay, I will be in here for about 5-10 more minutes before I have to take off. But I just want to thank everyone for coming in today. I hope you got something out of it. Again, if you're starting to choose a curriculum and you want to choose something that works in your classroom or have help on how to implement it, please reach out to either me or Anita, and we'd be more than happy to help you out. So. Thank you guys for joining. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be here for any questions that you might have. Thank you.